Watching some people have a conversation honestly is so stressful and annoying. And by watching some people, I mean like watching people online, on the news, sometimes even like within your own family, you're like, this is not how people should communicate with each other. I'm talking about people who don't say anything when they really should, but I'm also talking about people who like talk way too much and people who talk over other people and people who think that if they're louder, then they're righter. Those are the things that I really can't stand, and I'm going to show you what I do to address discussions in my classroom. Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Remember, this is the channel for teachers who are used to drinking lukewarm coffee. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about how I do discussions in my classroom. I teach middle school language arts. We talk a lot. A big part of my class, my philosophy, is teaching kids how to be a human being in the world and not just like how to be a good reader and how to write essays, but really like how do you live a good life. One thing that I think is so important is teaching kids how to have actual discussions about intense real life topics. Here's how I do that. At the very beginning of the year, I put kids into a big circle. I step outside of the circle. I give them a topic, something that is like kind of low key, not super stressful. One example I did was, should pineapple be on pizza? Now, I know there are strong opinions, but like it's not life or death unless you're allergic to pineapple. I give them that topic and I say, okay, go ahead, talk about it. Like, what do you think? 9 times out of 10, the room literally explodes in volume. Everyone is trying to talk at once. People are literally trying to get up out of their seats, like to get more physically into the conversation. I don't know, whatever it is, it's not cool. They're talking over each other. They are just screaming. Literally, no one is hearing anything except their own voice. I let that go on for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and I'm like, okay, pause. I was like, how did that feel? And they all are like, that was awful. What was even happening? I was like, totally, it's so bad. And then I say, okay, here's what I was hearing, and here's what I am seeing, and here's what I want to hear, and here's what I want to see. And I make it very, very concrete and very specific of the behaviors that I want to hear and see. For example, I want to see them showing body language that they aren't engaged in the conversation, but they're still sitting in their seats. They're sitting up, they're leaning in a little bit. I also want them to not talk over each other. So I have them listen for, how do you know when a good time to get into a conversation is? Is there a way to use your body? Can you kind of use your hands to lean in and to indicate, oh, well, I would like to say something next. I also tell them I want to hear reasons. They can't just say pineapple should not go on a pizza, but they have to back it up. What's their reason? What's their evidence? They need to give us some supports to back up their opinion. So I'm very specific in what I saw, and then also what I want to see and what I want to hear in our future discussions. One thing I see a lot of in real life, but also in the classroom, is people just waiting to talk and not listening to respond. I also tell them to use something called language bridges, and this is just a way to connect what someone else said to what you are going to say. Give them a list of language bridges so that when it is their opportunity to speak, they can say, I would like to add on to blah blah because, or I disagree with so-and-so because. I also encourage the louder students to invite quieter students in. So if someone has already spoken twice, my general rule is then I want you to look for someone who hasn't spoken yet, and I want you to bring them into the conversation. Now, importantly, don't just say, Maria, what do you think? That's not inviting. Maria, what's your opinion about pineapple on pizza? Should it go there? Having kids ask a really specific question to a quieter student helps that quieter student like latch on to that question, be like, okay, I have a specific question that was asked to me, and now I can give my specific answer to this question. Get back into your circle. I'm going to step out of it. After we've gone over some of these parameters and some of these guidelines, I step back out of the circle and I have the students discuss the same exact question. Because again, no one got to actually hear anything in that conversation. And I want you to discuss, should pineapple be on a pizza? And I have them look at the rules that I have posted up on the projector, and I have the language bridges up there. I have all the things that we just discussed, and I encourage them to focus on all of the things that are up on that board so that they can participate participate in a more appropriate way. Now, meanwhile, while they're having this discussion, I'm in the back of the room on my computer and I'm typing up notes for each kid. Things that I track are the number of times they spoke, a couple of the things that they said, the topics that they raised. I note if they used a language bridge. I note if they invited someone else in to speak. And then I also note if they have a side conversation with someone else. In that case, I give the kid specific feedback of like, share your brilliant ideas with the whole group and not just the kid who's lucky enough to sit next to you. After the discussion is over, which it naturally comes to its end, as in they're saying the same thing over and over again, I'll step in and say, okay, this was a great conversation. Good job. Let's stop. Let's debrief. Immediately after class or as soon after class as possible, I look at the notes that I took and then I give them individual feedback on next time, what can they do in the conversation. So there's a little box on my feedback form where I just say, next time, invite someone else in to speak before you speak more than 2 times, or great job, keep contributing your ideas with reasons to back up your opinions, or whatever specific feedback I want for that specific kid. And then I give this feedback back to the kids and they glue it into their notebook and they have it to look at every time we have a discussion. They're like, oh yeah, that's right. I got to try to invite someone into the conversation this time. And I can see over time that they really do take this feedback to heart and they apply it to future conversations. Now, do my conversations go from absolute chaos to like perfect? No. Okay, we're talking about middle school here. It's all about a process. It's all about slowly building new habits. It does get better and better throughout the year. And the cool thing is, even if we're not having a formal discussion day where I have them in a circle and I step out and I take my notes, even if I just bring up a topic from a book that we're reading, they will still follow the same protocol. They will follow these same strategies and tools when we're having just kind of like a more casual conversation. And that's the ultimate goal. They are taking these strategies that they are learning in class when they have formal discussions and they're applying it to like just a normal conversation that they are having out in the world. Because remember, the whole reason I started doing this is because people in the world were like annoying me with how they were having conversations. And so I just want to like fix it from the ground up by teaching students how to become adults who can have like real conversations. I've been running this kind of discussion protocol for a number of years now, so I've seen a lot of different things, but I do know giving kids very, very specific feedback and giving kids very specific directions of what is expected has truly impacted the way that students behave in class discussions. And I think the same can be true for your kiddos too, but please reach out if you have any questions. I hope you got a few good tips out of this about how to have a discussion in your classroom. As always, reach out to me if you have questions or comments, and I'll see you next time.